Hey, empowered badass breeders. Let's talk about the temperament trait of tenderhearted. I think can be one of the most misunderstood temperament traits when looking at a puppy. So whether you do my evaluation or you don't do evaluations, it's still a really important trait to identify and make sure you're being the voice for the puppy when placing or letting people choose their puppies. A tenderhearted puppy is not a puppy that won't, or if they're not tenderhearted, that doesn't mean that they're not going to attach to their human. The difference is your highly tenderhearted puppies absorb human emotions more deeply, and it does affect them. So for example, if a puppy's highly tenderhearted, I wouldn't place them as an ESA with someone with severe anxiety or anything where the puppy would start to feel so responsible for their human and there's nothing they can do, and it creates anxiety in the puppy. So then you have a human with anxiety and a puppy with anxiety, and that's the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. So the tender-hearted puppies are the ones that will always seek your approval, seek your reassurance, maybe a little hesitant to do new things initially until that trust is built. So there's just this innate softness in their soul. I feel like it kind of translates to even as far as highly sensitive people. The tender-hearted dog is kind of like a highly sensitive person. Like, they can get overwhelmed quickly. They take on everybody's emotions and feelings, and they internalize that. They're constantly checking for feedback from their human. Are we okay? Is this okay? Do you still love me? Is this safe? Is this not safe? Can we go here? Can we not go here? And so you need that human that will just look and be like, you're fine. You're good. You're fine. We're good, kind of thing. So someone that's able to provide that level of reassurance for them so that they can thrive. This isn't a puppy necessarily, when placed correctly, that's going to just always be unsure of everything to that extreme. But it is the puppy that really needs to trust that human, and that human has to be able to exude more confident energy, so that then the puppy feels safe. So just then that quick little glance, when the puppy becomes 2-3 years old, it's just a quick glance like, yep, we're fine. Like, it's not going to be this constant, very steady reassurance. However, if this puppy is placed in a home where that's not done, where there's too much coddling, there's too much reassurance, there's too much human emotion pressure put on the puppy, intentionally or unintentionally, that puppy, it's just too much. It's too much, and they just can't handle it. Their needs are not being met. In fact, they're kind of being obliterated, and then they become these puppies that become highly anxious and or may bite because they're just so overwhelmed. And so it's just protecting those soft little souls. In our 12-step puppy evaluations that I devised, we do test for this specifically and try to get a gauge of our puppies that are highly tender-hearted so that we can help guide and place. And if you are placing an ESA dog or a dog to support someone with PTSD or severe anxiety, you do want to guide more towards puppies with a little more confidence, less tender-hearted, and high nerve strength, so they can handle those unpredictabilities and not take it so personally. You know what I mean? They'll be like, either if you're in bed with severe depression or having a panic attack or something, they'll be like, can we play ball? And they'll bring you the ball, they'll be like, are you okay, mom? But let's play ball. Where your highly sensitive puppy will just kind of melt and try to take all that in, and they want to live in that moment with you. But the problem is, it's just too difficult. It's asking too much, especially of a younger puppy / dog, within the first year. So just something to keep in mind when we're placing and working with those just tender-hearted little souls, to make sure that they're protected and honored as well. Have you probably have had that puppy that's a screamer? So you pick them up to do the handling exercises, to weigh them, to change their ribbon or their collar or whatever, and they just act like you're killing them. They are so dramatic. What do you do with those puppies? I've tried several approaches over the years, and what I have found to be the most effective, take it or leave it, try it yourself, even better, is honor that to a certain extent. So The first 3 days after puppies are born, they're all very much like that, unless they're really, really well-fed, content puppies. Then they might be really relaxed, getting weighed and getting handled, and no care or concern, and sleep through most of it. But that's typically because they're really well-fed. Even a well-fed puppy or a runt or one that just is average for the litter, there are still some that I really feel like it doesn't have anything else to do other than with their personality, if they even quite have one yet. Like, temperament, personality, it's just who they are, okay? They just are dramatic and they scream the whole time. And it can be unsettling for us, and it's really unsettling if the mom hears them. The other puppy's ears aren't open yet, so they have no clue what's going on. They can totally live in denial, which can be a very lovely place to live. I used to wait it out after 3 days and wait for them to settle, but I found that was not near as effective. I felt that just created more stress each day. So for those puppies, my just flat out screamers, I just kind of tweaked the way that I do the handling. It's very, very quick, I'll just go into the whelping box and I stay really, really close to the mom. I'm honoring the puppy for innately needing, being sensitive enough, and having their fight or flight go off so heavy by being separated from their mom. I'm honoring that rather than trying to change that, rather than trying to add fuel to the fire and continue that survival instinct. So really integrating myself the opposite way, very gently, very slowly, right next to mom. I'm going to weigh you right next to mom. I'm going to touch you right next to mom. I'm not going to take you away from mom. I'm not going to spend a lot of time holding you if it upsets you right now, because I really, really want that nerve strength to continue to just become stronger. I want those nerve endings to fully form and grow appropriately. I don't want these puppies to have their nervous systems on fire so early with anything associated with humans. So I do it very different now. I will just keep them with mom as much as possible. Very to little no handling up away from mom. If they'll handle it while they're nursing, I just do a lot more of that. A much more gentle, respectful approach where I'm looking at it as I understand this puppy's super sensitive, and I want to give them a solid ground with anything to do with human hands, human smell, human touch in any form or fashion. So I have had puppies as dramatic for as long as 3 to 4 weeks old, where you touch them and they just scream to the point I thought they were hurt. I thought there was something wrong with them. I've had them evaluated by vets. And what I have found, and that could also be the case, but I'm just talking emotionally right now, what I have found was these puppies just needed a much slower approach and integration to humans, and a slower distance with their mom. Everything just needed to be really on a much slower pace. There's no other way to say it. So those puppies, I still continued to stay close to mom, hold them as much as they would allow. I didn't want to reward non-compliant behavior, but I feel like that's not really what it is. It's not that they're trying to be non-compliant or fussy or fight in the sense of, I don't want you to do it kind of thing. It's not like stubbornness. It's a true emotional innate need. And I think that's the difference. And so when they're showing that so early on, this isn't non-compliance to me. This isn't anything personal to me. This is truly about needing their mom in a different way and making sure we integrate ourselves in nothing but a respectful, honoring way. Here's something I just want to remind you of. We sometimes misunderstand or misgauge. When moms do this, we need to be very cognizant, be respectful, and make any adjustments as needed. And we take this body cue from them and we think it's cute or we think it's endearing. But let me tell you what's really happening, just so you can be aware. When you go to take especially within the first 2 weeks, I see this more often than not because hormones, after a mom delivers, hormones are so high, and sometimes a little out of whack. Sometimes that's why we hear like, this is even my pet dog I've done everything with, and the minute she had puppies, she started to growl at me. And so there's a lot of confusion about that, and we get our feelings hurt. But before it gets to that, they sometimes will give us this clue that I want you to watch for, just so we can back off a little bit and change our energy a little bit. If you go to grab the puppies or touch the puppies, or you're petting the puppies and she very politely tells you she's had enough, we need to listen. How does she tell you that? She will tell you that by trying to lay her head over her puppies to cover them. She may try to put her paw over them. She's basically trying to create a barrier between you and her puppies, and we see it as, oh, she wants to be petted. She's putting her head where my hand's going. She's putting her paw where my hand's going. That's not the case. It's almost always typically she's just trying to hide her puppies. She's just feeling like, and those of you that have had a baby where you've sometimes felt like you've wanted to smack people's hands when they've reached for your baby, you're just like, okay, my mom instincts are like, enough, I'm done sharing. I just want some privacy. And that's all she's saying. So it's a very polite way. Don't have your feelings hurt. She's just saying, okay, enough. Can I just please have some space and quiet? I really want you to really pay attention to this. If it's someone that the mom doesn't know as well, or maybe has a different relationship with, that could be with children, that could be with a spouse, that could be with your good friend, even though they're always over there. And if you see these little signs, I just want you to look at it differently, that she's saying, okay, please give me my space. I want to be left alone right now with my babies. So there you have it. Just a little tip and trick to help to continue to honor our moms and make sure they feel safe and respected and understood through this process. When they're having feelings, especially a first-time mom, they're just not sure what that means. Pick up those little indicators. Let her know that you've seen her, you love her, and you're going to honor her, and just step away for that time and give her some space. Thanks for shotgun with me today. Bye.